Ah, a Bible named after a tree. Good day, everybody. This is Rember here, and I have a Bible unboxing and reaction for you. The KJV personal size Canterbury Chestnut Calfskin full yap by Schuyler Bibles. Now, the reference I made at the beginning where I just love Bibles named after trees or a color of the leather on the Bible, it relates to, you'll know this is the case if you've seen some of my previous videos, other reviews, where I've gone out of my way to rename Bible colors after trees because I just love the forest so much. In fact, if I didn't become a pastor, if that wasn't my calling, I'd probably work in forestry. That's how much I love the forest and how much time I spend in the forest. So, quick look at the box. Always pause it later. Just what you expect on a Schuyler box. That being said, if I'm not mistaken, they used to have a picture of a cathedral, probably in Canterbury on these. So they've changed it for the Canterbury. But that's not too important, is it? It's nice to have a nice box, but really not that important what's on it. Okay. Standard wax paper. Let's take those off. I can already tell I like this brown color. Actually, quite similar to some of the colors on my desk, as you can see. Oh, very nice. Yeah, this is a great color. I like the feel. Now with these new Italian calfskins that Schuyler uses, they use a sort of an acid rub, is my understanding, to get this marbling effect. So it won't be as smooth as a lot of calfskins or goat skins, but it nevertheless has this sort of quality feel to it. If you feel one of the places where it looks like more acid's been rubbed than others, these wider places in the marbling, you can feel it be a little bit rough, but it's a nice tactile experience. So I wouldn't say it's overly smooth. It just feels good to hold. All right. This isn't exactly a full review looking at all the specs. You can always look those up online. So I want you to take a look at it. Okay, nice brown liner. Standard presentation page. And of course I already see, as you can see, one of these little imperfections. Sometimes that's just on the page. Oh yeah, there it is. Sometimes it's just a little bit of ink that gets on there during the printing process. Okay. 28 GSM, opaque enough to read. It's not too much ghosting. It's not too bad. But if you go much thicker, it's going to make this Bible thicker. And part of the personal size Canterbury's appeal is that it's a personal size. It's close, even kind of close to a compact based on how you want to define that. It's a bit subjective. Okay, beautiful floral drop-down caps. This is really online, this looks more like a yellow ribbon to me, the ribbons, but in person it's kind of got a soft gold look to it. 2, that's really all you need for the personal size. Could be wrong, but I think the full-size Canterbury has 3. Love these floral drop-down caps. You'll see it's 2-column versus at the bottom, but the Psalms are single column. So that's kind of a nice hybrid. I think a lot of people would agree because the Psalms are meant to be read in this way. So it's a nice compromise. I typically like 2-column myself. Now you'll see this is actually red letter, which I don't see in a lot of Schuyler Bibles. So, I mean, it's close to a crimson red, maybe a little bit lighter, but nevertheless, you can read it well. That's what matters. Now, sometimes you'll see Matthew is kind of a little high up here, close to the top. Sometimes with Canterbury's, the signatures get cut a little off, and they can get really close to the top. In fact, I'll show you one in just a minute where that happened. But this is far enough down. At least it's not right up near the edge, which we'll see in a minute. So that can happen. Just be aware of that if you decide to get one of these personal size Canterbury's. Oh, we have a nice King's English glossary of older Elizabethan, late Elizabethan English words that are used that we don't use as much today. And of course, some English words we use today don't have the exact same meaning as they did in 1611. They're related meanings. It's not exactly like they're a completely new meaning, but they're used, they have different nuance. So this can be very helpful. Some lined paper. Also feels like 28 GSM. Certainly thick enough with the right pens, Pigma Micron. I wouldn't use a Sharpie on it. Standard Schuyler maps, which are beautiful. Very well done. Of course, this is most people's favorite, the Ministry of Jesus, so it's a nice 2 pages. Okay, and then we have some thicker cardstock in the back, which I like. I don't like the text block to slam right against the cover or where it's glued down, especially in these edge-lined Bibles. Okay, beautiful, beautiful personal size Canterbury. And it's chestnut. You know, chestnuts, the American chestnut tree used to make up 25% of all the trees in really the eastern half of the United States in North America until the early 1900s when a blight from Asia came over. Now that it's really a fungus and it grows on chestnut trees in China and other trees there, and they're fine, nothing happens to them. But the American chestnut tree, once they hit a certain level of maturity, it kills them. And it still grows on trees today. So when people try to plant American chestnut trees, once they start to get to maturity, I want to say 15, 20 years, it can really start to kill them. And so that's why, in a way, the American chestnut is functionally extinct, although there have been great efforts to genetically modify some of the nuts to bring the mighty American chestnut back. And oh, how I would love to see that day, because oak trees are my favorite, but the chestnut tree is truly beautiful as well. And it would be, I wouldn't live to see it unless the Lord returns and reigns and keeps me alive for 1,000 years, as will happen when he returns. But if I leave before then, I won't see it, because those trees, they take hundreds of years to grow as large as they can, but only really, they would be the biggest trees in the eastern seaboard, eastern half of the United States. Okay, all of this is to say, it really does look like a chestnut nut, even the bark to some extent on a chestnut tree, an American chestnut tree. So already you sold me. I love the King James Bible. It's my favorite translation. I don't preach from it, as I've said before. I don't typically, because I don't like to have to explain English words all the time. But as far as pleasure reading and what just speaks to my spirit, I love the King James Bible. You know, this might amuse you. This happens to be a pure Cambridge edition, so-called. So there's a niche movement within the King James only, where some people believe there's a perfect printing of the Cambridge Cameo in the early 20th century that has the exact perfect translation. It's the most, well, you have to ask them, but it's the best possible translation of the King James Bible, the best possible version, because there's minor difference in the different printings of the King James Bible over time. So this happens to match pure Cambridge edition readings. Now, I don't think Schuyler did that to give any credence to this movement. It's a rather obscure movement, but it's an interesting coincidence. Okay, I said we'd look at something where one of the signatures, the print is printed too high. And in doing so, we'll look at this. This is the camel, desert camel, they call it, color. Very unique. So they're very similar, except one is just noticeably lighter and uses this wine liner and ribbons. This just maintains a dark brown and the golden ribbons. So this will come down to taste. These are both good options. Show you what I'm in about sometimes the signatures. Okay, see, look at that. That's getting really close to the top, and then look how much space is at the bottom. So this was cut off. This was off cut, I should say. Okay, now you see this is what it should be. Get a little more space. It's close to the bottom down there. Centered better. It's like in Matthew, like I said before. Okay, that's getting up there. I mean, it doesn't matter much, but for visual appeal, I get distracted when they get they cut the page this much off. It's sort of miscut. It still has everything there, so it's not a big deal. But if little things like that annoy you, like they can annoy me, just be aware that that can happen with a personal size Canterbury. This is the only one I've seen it happen to this degree where it's almost touching the top of the page. It's getting close to be cut off. But nevertheless, it's all there, so you can still read it. It may not bother you. Let's look at some other Bibles that are other King James that are similar size in case you're interested in getting one and maybe you have one of these others. Okay. Well, first let's just do this. This is in comparison to a Canterbury without a full yap. So the corners here are not nearly as nice as the full yap corners. Got nice pleated corners. They did an excellent job on this calfskin, this Italian calfskin. This is the first edition goatskin. I really like this one. This almost feels like a prototype that would lead me to this one day. I now prefer this one. This is really nice though. This is still a nice. This is the first printing, I believe, in 2018, I want to say. Certainly could be wrong. Okay, let's look at a Cambridge Cameo. I think a lot of people have this. So these are comparably sized because of course the yap's gonna throw things off. It's gonna make the Canterbury look a little bigger, but they're pretty comparable. It's not a full yap, as you can see. Okay, here is a Church Bible Publishers printing of the Cambridge Cameo. Now, you can't print a Cambridge Cameo without the royal permission in Britain, unless you happen to live in a country that doesn't care what they think, and the United States is one of them. So they've been able to make this Cameo here in the United States. They printed it. Let's see if I can get some red letter. This is a really pretty nice ironed calfskin Church Bible Publishers Cameo. It's not full yet, but it also has pleated corners. Even the Cambridge doesn't do that. So this is pretty nice for the price. I don't think they have any in stock right now. Very nice. Okay. Here is Allen Blackface. They're both full yap, but with the two yaps, the Canterbury is still a little longer, and it's a bit thicker. All right, and one more. Let's look at the Trinitarian Bible Society Classic Reference Bible. Now, hearing that, you would think that this is a big Bible, would you not? Look at this. It's smaller than even the book block, and just about, every dimension, just a tad smaller and thinner than the Canterbury, even though this is called Classic Reference Bible, which gives the impression it's more of a mid-sized Bible. And this is by Trinitarian Bible Society. It's not edge-line, it's just paste down, but it's not very expensive, and it's pretty nice, I have to say. It's much like similar to the Cambridge Cameo, I believe. Yeah, they even use Cambridge, the Cambridge layout. Might be a Cameo. I think it might even be a smaller Concord. It's almost like a personal size Concord. So this is a nice little King James as well. That being said, for the time being, and I read through a lot of Bibles, I just read another one. In addition to the work I have to do for church, you got to read for your own edification so you can get closer to the Lord. So this will be the next King James I read through because I think this might be my new overall favorite. In fact, I'll end by saying this. The Schuyler Canterbury, the full size and the personal size, might be the best King James you can get on the market right now that isn't made by a bespoke rebinder that's doing a special project for you, but one you can buy just that's well advertised, where they've made several copies, that doesn't have to incorporate expensive materials like gold to make it more valuable. But as far as a clean layout, excellent references, the personal size is easy to hold, easy to take with you, and it complements the full size, which has the same pagination. So this is an excellent choice. They had me when they said it was Chestnut. And I was like, oh, well, in that case, I have to get it, as silly as that may sound. All right, thanks for watching. Please be blessed and go in peace.